She's one of the most potent voices in music. But you've never heard her like this.
I finally got to the point where I could talk about it. It's a way of me finding closure in my life by telling all those things that hurt me in my younger years.
Patti LaBelle sounds off.
So be careful what you do.
I'm Dan Rather, and this is 48 Hours. Good evening. At this hour, a child lies gravely ill in a North Carolina hospital. Doctors say her best hope is radical surgery. The greatest obstacle, her parents. In a 48 Hours exclusive, Erin Moriarty has followed this battle thousands of miles, from Texas to Canada to North Carolina. At issue, who decides what's best for a child? You're about to meet those trying to answer that question.
Brought by the Texas Department of Protective and Regulatory Services.
The greenish yellow stuff is TPN, and the milky stuff is lipids.
The subject of this suit is Rachel Stout.
Sitting on a hospital bed in Toronto.
This is little Rachel. I named her that because my name means lamb.
10-year-old Rachel Stout doesn't look much like a fugitive.
She's sitting up in bed.
But Rachel and her father have been on the run for nearly a month.
I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. I know they're in Texas, but I don't know exactly where in Texas.
The last time she saw them,
September 1st.
Rachel is in the middle of a custody battle that pits her dad, not against her mother, but against the entire state of Texas.
We're arguing that the state should not be telling whether Rachel has surgery or not.
Rachel has ulcerative colitis, an inflammation of her colon that is so severe, at least 6 doctors who have examined her say she will die unless her large intestine is removed.
I think she's in serious danger of intestinal perforation.
Dr. Robert Squires.
The time interval between that perforation and serious consequences and death could be as short as 2 hours.
But Steve Stout,
It is very frustrating.
a computer engineer, insists his daughter doesn't need the potentially disfiguring surgery.
We have turned up thousands of pages worth of research on ulcerative colitis that says that the traditional practice is not the only way to do it, that there's other options other than the radical surgery.
And the one who has the most at stake agrees.
I'm gonna go to some place that can make me better without taking my colon out.
Rachel's ordeal began last month after Steve and his wife Pat refused to allow the recommended surgery. Texas Child Protective Services, CPS, stepped in and sued for custody.
It's not a matter of parents choosing which method of treatment they want for their child. That is not the issue. The issue is this child's life is at stake, and this is the only way to save this child's life is through this surgery.
But that's when Steve took matters into his own hands.
The father notified the nurses on the floor where Rachel was an inpatient that they were coming down to look at the model trains.
Rachel's father disconnected her IV pump and smuggled her out of a Dallas hospital.
The nurses and the physician came downstairs and found that her IV pole was here, but Rachel was not.
Rachel was already on her way to Toronto.
Did you know that he was going to take the child out of the hospital without doctor's permission?
That's not my concern.
To see Ravi Devgan.
I use homeopathic medicines, vitamins, nutrition. I use the latest technology in light using laser therapies. That's a laser beam.
A medical doctor who used alternative treatments on Rachel.
My own opinion for the short term that I saw and the progress that I saw, that she has a good chance she wouldn't need surgery.
What if you're wrong? What if your opinion...
I could be wrong. I've been wrong before.
But there's a 10-year-old's life that's in balance here.
I deal with lives all the time. I deal with them all day long.
But after just 5 days of treatment, Rachel developed an infection and had to be hospitalized in Toronto.
This is a sticker album that I made up here to keep.
Courts both in Canada and Texas ordered Rachel and her father to return home for a custody hearing.
In the interest of Rachel Stout.
My question is, whose child is this? The Stouts or the States?
To get custody of Rachel, the state of Texas in a closed-door hearing must prove her life is in danger.
Her colon is rotting in her abdomen, and it needs to be removed. To continue this delay on my part makes me an agent of this child's abuse.
Dr. Robert Squires, one of Rachel's Texas physicians, says delaying the surgery could kill her.
What I see is a family who's parading this child all across the country and the continent, trying to get the answer they want, when the right answer for the child has been made clear by 5 separate physicians.
But it's not an answer Steve wants to hear. He is asking the court for still one more opinion at yet another hospital.
We want to be able to look our daughter in the eye next month, next year, and say, we tried everything else first.
Outside the courtroom.
I'm Marcia Jones, and I'm Steve's oldest sister.
I'm Delia McMillan. I'm married to Pat's youngest brother, and I'm Rachel's aunt.
Members of the Stout family gather.
So you have here members from both sides of the family.
Yes. Right.
They have come to testify, not for the Stouts, but for the state.
When I walked into the home, the stench was overwhelming.
The condition of the house, I just don't know that you could describe it accurately. It was just absolutely filthy, filthy.
When family members visited the Stout home last July, they found Rachel at home seriously ill.
She was on a love seat. Seeing her was absolutely horrifying.
I'm not medically trained, and it was very apparent to me that she was in dire need of medical attention.
They were the ones who called CPS in the first place and forced Steve to take Rachel to a hospital.
Literally, it was skin covering her skeleton. Her bones protruded beyond belief.
All the way through this, you've talked about how this has been about Rachel's welfare. But you know you've had family members here who say that when they came to your house in July, it was dirty.
We're not going to talk about.
Oh, but why would they say that if it wasn't true?
I don't know, Aaron. I thought that they loved us.
But Pat and Steve are not without their supporters, on their side and by their side.
That's good. Let me write that down for tomorrow.
They help with legal expenses, plan strategy, speak for the Stouts.
I think it really is a situation where we have had a government infringement in every area.
Marlene Mitchell is the founder of Liberty Ministries.
I went through some of the literature, and in it states very clearly that the family, not the government, should make all the decisions for the children, health, education. Is that what this was really about, to make a point?
A little over 200 years ago, we kicked a government off of this continent so that the families then could make choices for their own families without King George telling them what to do.
If Steve Stout can be devoured in this, then it says it's open season on all the parents, good parents in this country.
That's up to the judge to decide. But as it turns out, she never gets a chance. When we come back.
Also ahead.
I never thought I would reach my 45th birthday. I just said that I'm next. I just thought I was going to go by 45.
What did you think would happen to you?
Patti LaBelle and Revelations of a Lifetime.
You won't believe how good chicken pot pie can be until you taste the one freshly baked by KFC. And to make a believer out of you, for a limited time, our chunky chicken pot pie is just $2.99.
Colorful taste, pure fat free, wishbone's done it beautifully. Take a peek, take a pour, you're looking at what you're looking for. Taste the colors, Wishbone, world's most colorful taste.
Behind me, Niagara Falls, where 2 million
pounds of copper and 300,000 rivets hold together this.
Our Congress, which is met here.
There are a lot of interesting things to see in this country.
On your right, you'll see the marriage of the body and the chassis.
Who would have ever thought a car factory would be one of them?
Over to the left, dashboard assembly.
All we know is the more people learned about Saturn, the more they wanted to come and visit us.
Our polymer panels bend and flex.
So each week we show folks around the place.
You can stop on us all day.
Pointing out crowd pleasers like lost foam casting and seat installation.
Go ahead, get right in there. Note that we've added skylights here to add to the cafeteria setting.
Well, we're flattered by all the attention. We're just a little baffled by it. I mean, we are just making cars, right?
Next stop, Saturn Gift Shop. Now if you look over here.
Sunday, can an angel convince a selfish woman to make a sacrifice?
There's someone else who needs you.
And let Ben Vereen be touched by an angel after 60 Minutes on CBS.
Actress Gina Davis tonight on The Late Show with David Letterman.
This is a child who's been seriously ill for 3 months, who's seen 5 doctors in 3 institutions in 2 countries, who all have agreed that surgery is necessary.
I'm planning to buy the biggest water gun that I can find and squirt Drs. Wiener and Dr. Squires with it.
Her condition is life-threatening.
Well, I'm not too particularly happy about some of the things that they used to treat me.
It's my feeling that she needed a colectomy. I still feel that way.
How you go, Doc?
Dr. Squires has finally gotten his day in court.
When I was in pain, I prayed so that the cramping would go away.
But Rachel Stout won't be getting that surgery. At least not right now.
Let me ask Mr. Stout.
There's a settlement.
It's my understanding that the parties have all reached an agreement in this case.
The parents will share custody with Texas Child Protective Services, or CPS. And instead of sending Rachel straight to surgery, she's going to another hospital for another evaluation.
Rachel's going to Duke University, and there has been an agreement reached to allow her to do that.
Liberty Ministries founder Marlene Mitchell calls it a victory.
I think that everybody is happy.
But for Rachel's aunts and uncles, the fight is over before it even began.
We are very unhappy with what happened in the courtroom.
They will not be able to tell the judge about what they say is the parents' neglect of Rachel.
They were willing to let Rachel stay at home and die on the couch, as they both know she was.
We're talking about a very sick child that has been sick for months now, and nothing on the parents' part has indicated that they will do anything differently.
Why would you agree to a settlement like this?
Because it allows Rachel to get the treatment that she has got to have soon.
Rose Benham says CPS had no choice because a long legal battle would increase the risk to Rachel.
This is a father who didn't believe the first hospital that said she needed surgery, didn't believe a second hospital that said she needs surgery, didn't believe a third hospital that said she needs surgery. Do you really believe that Steve Stout is going to have his daughter have surgery if a fourth hospital says it?
I sure hope so. His word certainly is a big part of this.
If that's what Duke orders, can you really say, okay, will you be able to do it this time?
Sure.
They're going to send you your clothes at Duke.
The point of Liberty Ministries is this idea that the family, not the government, decides for children. Was this an attempt to make a point here?
CPS has very strange ideas about keeping families together.
While you were making this point, were you putting your daughter's life at risk?
We were not making a point to be making a point. We were here to get Rachel the best medical care she could get. You don't mess with your daughter's life, and we weren't.
I think we're all set to go. You guys signed the consent for transport.
Okay.
And I think we're all set.
If they say that, well, no, these aren't working, this not it, and has to have surgery, then we'll have the surgery.
Bye. See you later.
But we will have known that we did look at all the alternatives we knew about and that other doctors knew about.
How are you?
And Rachel also knows that they didn't do the surgery prematurely.
What do you think about your trip?
Tonight, Rachel remains hospitalized at Duke University. The doctors there have made their recommendation, the same recommendation as all the doctors before them: operate. Rachel's father had sworn to abide by their decision. So far, he hasn't. He has another 48 hours to give his consent. But Child Protective Services in Texas says tonight Rachel Stout will be operated on. Negotiations are over. When we return, they thought he was just another kid in need of a home, in need of some help. They thought wrong.
I'll say it plain and simple. I think they were being suckered. They were being used.
How one case of foster care ended in tragedy.
He took a life, and he took that life in a very vicious and a very violent way. We can't afford to allow him to be loose.
Next.
Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Dinner time. Is my little precious hungry?
Nothing has more lives than a DuPont Stainmaster carpet. So for beauty that lasts, insist on the quality of Stainmaster.
Come on, I'm innocent, I tell you. I was framed.
Backed and warranted by DuPont.
Critics are calling The Chamber riveting.
Did he do it? Oh, he did it.
It's the best John Grisham adaptation yet.
You touch my kid.
Chris O'Donnell, Gene Hackman, The Chamber, rated R. Starts Friday.
I have a vice. Cheese soup. I know, full of fat. But this new chicken Alfredo soup from Healthy Choice, tender chicken, rich cheesy sauce, only 3 grams of fat. Healthy Choice. Just say no? No way.
No matter where we live, when it comes to something as important as healthcare, we all want the best. That's why Aetna and U.S. Healthcare have joined forces to create a partnership that will set a new standard of quality and care in the healthcare industry. Aetna and U.S. Healthcare, raising the quality of healthcare for your town, for your family, for you.
Let's see. About 6 billion people on Earth. Less than half with phones. Most without cellular. Even fewer on internet. Just discovered life on Mars. Got work to do. Lucent Technologies. We make the things that make communications work.
Here, honey, drink your orange juice. There you go.
Finally, in health news, the American Cancer Society reports that along with a healthy diet, drinking more Florida orange juice may actually reduce your risk of some cancers. Hey, how about that? Well, that's news up to the minute. Updates on the quarter hour. It's now 23 minutes past.
Whenever you buy Florida orange juice, we make a donation to the American Cancer Society.
Tonight,
you like big-time movie stars?
Dave's got Gina Davis, and she's getting tough.
I kill everybody.
Wow! Plus, melon smashing with Peter Gallagher, and tomorrow, George Foreman.
Life on Mars? CBS News has learned of a new discovery.
We're seeing similar possible cell structures in at least one other meteorite.
But how to prove it? You gotta go get some Martian rocks and bring them back. And here's the little guy for the job. A close-up look tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
As we've seen tonight, deciding what's best for a child can be a struggle. One that is more difficult when it involves children on the edge, without a family or a home. In just 10 years, the number of children in foster care has grown over 60%. That's overwhelmed the whole system, sometimes with tragic results. Harold Dow has the story of a couple who just wanted to do what was right. But now many are wondering what went so horribly wrong.
It's sort of like a time bomb was in the house.
You say you hit her about 10 times and then she was still breathing.
I kept hitting her until I didn't see her move no more.
They knew that this child was about to explode.
Ron Wingate and Rick Meyer have been defense attorneys for more than 17 years.
Transporting 3 to 2.
They say they have never had a client with less chance of beating a murder rap than this teenager.
Johnny Jordan.
It's only a question of how much time Johnny will get. If Johnny were 18, he would be looking at the death penalty. It's basically what the state would call an open and shut case.
Dean Mandros and Julia Bates are prosecuting Johnny Jordan.
We're going to ask that he be sentenced to the maximum amount of years possible. He could be looking at 50 to life.
These look like they're all chop wounds.
Is
The right
this
eye is destroyed.
right eye, right ear?
And was her jaw broken on this side?
With things like this, there are so many wounds.
He took a life, and he took that life in a very vicious and a very violent way. We can't afford at this point in our society to allow him to be loose.
Before the court in the state of Ohio versus Johnny Jordan. And for the record, would you tell me your full legal name and age?
Johnny Jordan, age 16.
The story begins for us in December of 1995. The home of Charles and Jeanette Johnson.
Mr. Johnson, this is your wife. How many years have you married?
32.
32 years. You miss her a lot, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
The Johnsons had been foster parents to dozens and dozens of children over many, many years.
Why did you and your wife do it? Why?
Well, we just wanted to help the little children and try to make them happy.
And in December of 1995, they opened their home to the defendant, Johnny Jordan, who was placed there as a ward of the court.
Transporting 3 to 2. Johnny Jordan had been removed from his parents' custody when he was 10 and placed in foster care. How many foster homes have you been in and out of?
About 19.
Of the 19 different foster homes that you were in, did you like any of them?
Not really. Ain't nothing on my parents. I don't want to be with them.
Family means something to you.
Yeah, that's all I think about. This is my family right here. That's 92. Just taking the family picture.
Johnny has a fascination with family. His fascination and the actual reality of what his family life was like don't mesh. Johnny was raised in a family whereby there were parents that were dependent upon drugs. You had Johnny and his other 6 siblings who were victims of sexual and physical abuse. This year, earlier in a trial, the father was convicted of rape, felonious sexual penetration, and is serving a great deal of time now, a lengthy prison sentence.
I didn't do it. God knows I did.
The mom is presently serving a 6-month term for child endangering. So all you have written on Johnny's blank slate has been disappointment, failures, frustration, anger. And you take this individual and then you put him in that setting, and you have no idea what would cause him to go off, so you just have a crime waiting to happen with Johnny Jordan.
In fact, Johnny Jordan had already been convicted of a felony before being arrested for murder. He was on probation after serving an 11-month sentence for assaulting a bus driver.
But nobody never tell us the problems.
No one from the child agency, the state agency, told you anything about this?
Anything about it.
Johnson also says he and his wife were not told that Johnny Jordan was a gang member who started carrying guns when he was 14.
I'll say it plain and simple. I think they were being suckered. They were being used.
Attorney Alan Connup is representing Charles Johnson in a lawsuit against the foster care agency, Children's Services Board.
They knew that the young man, young Jordan, was on probation for felonious assault. They were also aware that he was, and as a matter of fact, it was under their guidance, that he was getting psychiatric care, and they had determined that he had a very severe anger control problem. It's sort of like a time bomb that they presented to him, and he didn't know the time bomb was in the house. I mean, they knew that this child was about to explode.
The defendant lived with the Johnsons for the following weeks. He shared their home, he shared their table, and he shared their life.
I liked him.
You liked him? Did you ever have any problems with him?
One time, he made me mad. I forgot what he did, but it made me mad. I started cussing and stuff.
Can you control your anger?
Probably, no.
Well, he flew up at me, started using language that my wife and I didn't use. And so I called up, asked him would they come and remove him from our home.
What did the state agency say to you?
She said, Mr. Johnson, you and your wife did such a nice job with Johnny. Would y'all keep him till Thursday? And so I walked back to the living room where my wife was, I said, they're not coming.
After that conversation, Johnson went on an errand. It was January 29th. He had just returned from the store when Charles Johnson noticed a strange red glow coming from this window. He proceeded inside, smelled smoke, looked down at the kitchen floor, and saw his wife's feet on fire.
And I called to her, and she wouldn't answer. And so I went and called 911.
911. Just got back. My wife is laying on the floor. My coffin is bundled with blood all over the floor. Lord have mercy. Okay.
Paramedic, he come. I said, is my wife dead? He said, I'm afraid so. And so I just couldn't accept it.
Who killed your wife, Mr. Johnson?
Couldn't be no other Johnny.
Police found Johnny Jordan a few hours after the killing. The next day, he confessed and revealed that the murder weapon, a hatchet,
You don't have to touch
was still hidden in the Johnson home.
You see that? Do you recognize it?
He needs a minute. Period of time, and we're going to take a short recess.
Children's Services Board knew they had a big problem on their hands with this young man. And they were looking to place him in an institution that takes care of kids with big problems. But they felt they had to have some place to keep him for a period of time. And of course, nobody bothered to tell the Johnsons about it.
There was nothing in this young man's background, even given his one delinquency act prior to this, that would have made the agency feel that this was a possibility.
Ellen Jones is the executive director of the Children's Services Board. She would not comment on the specifics of the case.
It's only natural for people to try to find someone to blame. We have no crystal ball. We cannot determine what's going to happen in the future. We try to give as much information to the foster parents as we can.
They do have a care agreement. There's nothing in this agreement or contract that indicates any special problem. As a matter of fact, there's a line that says special needs of the child. None. Says common sense. You don't have to be a lawyer. There's no special needs. He's a fine kid, well-adjusted.
The Children's Services Board has admitted the Johnsons were not informed in writing, but the board says the Johnsons were informed verbally of Johnny Jordan's problems.
Today's gonna be real hard.
It's the second day of the trial, and defense attorney Rick Meyer is braced for the worst.
The confession will come in today. Yeah, today won't be pretty.
Because the crime was so brutal and the evidence so shocking to any jury, the defense has chosen to try the case in front of 3 judges.
They will look at the law and apply the law to the facts, as opposed to being emotionally charged and let their emotions be the deciding factor.
All right.
This case really tears at my heart. This woman, Mrs. Johnson, who was there to help him, paid with her life. And she died the most brutal death that anyone could die.
Would you go over what happened, where you were at, who was at the house?
I got up. Mr. Johnson already had left.
His demeanor is extremely cold. It's extremely matter-of-fact. It's chilling, really.
Then I started getting these thoughts in my mind.
You started getting thoughts about what?
Killing her.
What gave you this thought that you had to kill her?
She ain't do nothing to me. It's just that something that went through my head. And then I went in the kitchen and grabbed that axe on the side of the stove.
You grabbed an axe alongside the stove?
And then I hit her with the hammer part. And then she backed up and looked at me. And I didn't want to hit her again. But I didn't know what to do. I was scared the way she looked at me. She couldn't even say nothing. So I swung and hit a couple more times.
We're going to be in recess for a few moments.
Family members or relatives, friends were overcome with emotions, and the court took a recess.
Go ahead, Johnny.
I kept hitting her till I didn't see her move no more.
And why are you telling us about it today?
Because I think I need help.
I feel sorry for everything I did. Because I ain't no bad kid.
Could something have been done to defuse this time bomb before it went off?
You don't see the eyes of a child. You see the reflection of society's failures.
Harold Dow's investigation continues
Mr. Jordan, if you would please stand.
when we come back.
As a delivery company, our business revolves around addresses. Your address, the address you're shipping to, millions of addresses worldwide. You give us an address, we'll get it there. But today, we're giving you an address. Welcome to UPS on the Internet. From here, you can arrange pickups, check rates, even track packages, all from your own computer, anywhere in the world, whether you're at an address or not. UPS, moving at the speed of business.
If you can't find the coat that you want at Burlington Coat Factory, you can't find it anywhere.
Literally thousands and thousands of coats.
I love this place. I'm buying a coat for my husband.
You can't try on all the jackets because you'd be here all day long.
You can get the same thing for a lot less money that you can get in other department stores.
Any kind of coat you want, any kind of style that you want, it's fabulous.
I think I'm going to get something a lot nicer than I planned on.
I got it at the factory.
Coming up on 48 Hours,
If the shoe was on the other foot.
the heart and soul of Patti LaBelle.
An ex-con returns home,
Give me a chance, for God's sakes.
pursued by a ruthless crime boss.
Just a ride.
Yeah, that's all it was last time.
A cop in trouble,
Somebody killed my partner.
playing both sides of the law.
I need a cop who looks dirty.
And a lawyer who'll do anything to survive. Their lives reach a flashpoint. Ken Olin, Jason Gedrick, Deborah Ferrantino, Joe Pantoliano. Easy Streets, CBS Sunday, October 27th. Due to adult content, parental discretion advised.
CBS, welcome home.
Tonight on 2 News at 11, he's back at Game 2. See how the Yankees' 12-year-old angel in the outfield spent his day in the spotlight.
I just happened to be in the right place at the right time.
Then a dramatic new twist in the Flight 800 investigation. Plus,
Do we say so long to the soggy and hello to the sunshine? I'll have your exclusive Earth Watch weather.
tonight at 11. And tomorrow morning, see how this chamber helps heal wounds that won't go away. Plus,
A user's guide to buying the beans and brewing the perfect cup.
tomorrow on 2 News this morning.
Come closer. Closer. There. I'm the road. And I'm so bored. It's been so long since someone new has come into my life and hugged me, caressed me, excited me.
The all-new ES300. The road is calling. Answer it.
Whew, what was that?
You take responsibility for yourself and your family. President Clinton is making people on welfare take responsibility. He signed tough welfare reform, work requirements, time limits, force teenage mothers to stay in school or lose benefits. The next step, create jobs. Tax incentives for businesses that hire welfare recipients. Job training for all workers. Dole Gingrich tried to cut job training. Wrong for our future. President Clinton, moving people from welfare to work, meeting our challenges.
A black man, a white neighborhood. Now he's dead. The case some are calling the Rodney King of the East. Next day and date.
Tomorrow at 4 on Channel 2.
There is no doubt of Johnny Jordan's guilt in the death of Jeanette Johnson. All his attorneys can do is lay groundwork for a more lenient sentence.
He's not a monster, and he's not an abomination. He's a child who desperately wanted a childhood.
Johnny Jordan has never explained why he killed Jeanette Johnson, but Ron Wingate makes an attempt.
Mrs. Johnson was the victim of an angry 15-year-old that had been told that once again he was to be moved from a foster home. He was to again be taken from people that he had began to like.
Every time he cared about someone, that relationship ended.
The prosecution team understands the theory.
Perhaps he decided to
be the one to end the relationship with Mrs. Johnson as opposed to have someone else end the relationship first.
But maintains there is still a bill to pay.
There are thousands of these stories all across this country, and not ever, never can it justify the taking of a life.
Court now will retire and begin to deliberate.
The judges reached their verdict in 2 hours.
It is the unanimous finding of this 3-judge panel that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt all the essential elements of aggravated murder as set forth.
Johnny Jordan will be sentenced in 3 weeks.
It's Baywatch. I consider myself a nice person. I got heart, but I got problems that need to be worked on.
Are you sorry for anything that you've done in your life?
Yeah, I feel sorry for everything I did. Because I ain't no bad kid. It's just that I got an anger problem. But other than that, if I ain't no anger problem, I'll be cool.
Who do you blame?
Myself, most of. Because I knew I had anger problems, whatever. Didn't try to get no help. Didn't want no help.
Ron Wingate says the agency responsible for Johnny Jordan, the Children's Services Board, should have done more to ensure this disturbed teen got help.
As opposed to addressing that need and that anger, CSB sort of just, passed him along from foster home. So to that extent, Children's Services failed him.
At his sentencing, Johnny Jordan asked for forgiveness.
I'll be more than happy to serve 20 or 30 years of my life in prison for this crime. But it will make me feel a little bit better if I know that y'all one day forgive me for this. Although I can never forgive myself for it.
We'll be back in session at 10 minutes after 11. Thank you.
Johnny's family failed him?
Yes.
The system failed him?
Yes.
And Johnny failed himself?
Yes. When you look into Johnny's eyes, you don't see the eyes of a child. You see the reflection of society's failures.
They gotta make their decision. How you feeling? Sorry for the family.
Mr. Jordan, if you would please stand. It is the unanimous order of the panel that the defendant, Johnny Jordan, is sentenced to life imprisonment.
Johnny Jordan will not be eligible for parole until he is 56 years old.
Johnny now has a home for the next 40 years. He has stability and he'll have a family. Now, whether or not he actually survives it, that's a different question.
What's going to happen to Johnny Jordan?
It don't bother me if I live or die. There ain't nothing to live for no more, really.
For all practical purposes, the bells have tolled for Johnny Jordan.
The bells have tolled.
The bells have tolled.
It's like Johnny said to you yesterday, his life sure went fast.
Morning, Tom.
Tom, does this match?
Well, relax, Tom.
We're options. By Stafford. Slacks, jackets, vests. Everything matches. All the brown stuff goes together.
All the black stuff goes together?
You mean I could look like you guys?
Gee, Tom, we're highly paid fashion models.
But you could dress like us. Cool.
Know your options. Options by Stafford, only at JCPenney. When it comes to business casual, you've got options. Options by Stafford.
Hey, Randy, use an underarm motion.
Thanks, sir.
Owen Moore is an engineer in ergonomics at the Liberty Mutual Research Center. Owen figures ways folks can do their jobs better and safer. His team has saved the companies we insure millions.
Stan, vibrating devices can cause extremity numbness. Maybe there's another way.
Okay, Owen. Safer, more secure lives.
Yeah, maybe not.
That's the freedom of liberty. Liberty Mutual.
Meet Friday's fun couple.
Why am I here?
Because you're cute.
2 spies, no names, and no limits. All new Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Then Nash makes it all look easy.
You're my new personal god.
But this case just got complicated.
Who's the target? You're it.
All new Nash Bridges, CBS Friday. Everything she loved, she lost in a heartbeat.
They're dead.
Can a caring cop help her love again? Barbara Taylor Bradford's Everything to Gain, CBS Sunday.
CBS, welcome home.
It's open house week at Channel 2 with your local Toyota dealers and the better-than-ever 1997 Toyota Camry.
Ready and action!
You'll really get a kick out of this when you and the guest are off to Texas to see a live filming of Walker, Texas Ranger. See the stars on location. Hotel and airfare included. To enter, call 1-888-79-TOYOTA. Good luck from Channel 2 and the Tri-State Toyota dealers.
The truth about Clinton on taxes? Remember?
I will not raise taxes on the middle class.
But he gave the middle class the largest tax increase in history. Higher taxes on your salary, gasoline, Social Security. Clinton even tried higher taxes on heating your home. 255 proposed tax and fee increases in all. Clinton says,
But I don't think that qualifies me as a closet liberal.
Sorry, Mr. Clinton. Actions do speak louder than words. The real Bill Clinton, a real spend and tax liberal.
Here is the future. It is you. It is your wild ideas, your relentless wonder, and your imagination. It is you who will shape the future. You will have the tools and the help of a company who can't wait to see what you can do. Bell Atlantic.
Get cooking the low-fat way.
Tomorrow on 2 News This Morning.
The case of Johnny Jordan has already had an impact. In Toledo, Ohio, Child Protective Services now presents a child's history in writing to every foster parent. But there's a lot more that can be done. Susan Spencer looks at ways to help kids in trouble before it's too late.
If you go back and look at what happened to him over the 16 or 17 years of his life, one has to ask the question, when he was a little baby laying in that crib in the hospital, what was it that happened to this individual from the time of birth up to committing this act? And there's something going on out there that we all need to be concerned about.
2 months before Johnny Jordan met the Johnsons,
now, this is beautiful.
He met Dr. Martin Mitchell's staff at Star Commonwealth, Van Wert, Ohio.
This is a residential treatment facility that serves about 60 kids.
Kids with problems not unlike Jordan's.
Somehow up there you're telling yourself, it's okay for me to hurt others if I'm hurt. Or if I feel bad, it's okay to make others feel bad.
85% of the kids that come into this program will go on and not be rearrested or charged.
It's just that, I like trying to be the best that I can at things,
We are basically full all the time.
Jordan's caseworkers tried to get him enrolled here.
We actually did an intake interview, and we determined that we were not the proper type of agency to help this young person.
The program rejected him.
I can't get into this case specifically because his information is confidential.
And a second treatment program turned him down as well.
Do you think that somewhere in this country there might have been some place that could have helped Johnny Jordan?
Yes, I think there are places that certainly could have put him in a more secure environment where he would have been protected and also other people would have been protected, and we may have seen a very different outcome to this situation.
Johnny Jordan is clearly the foster care system's worst nightmare, the exceptional case where everything that could go wrong did. But there are some 500,000 other kids today in that very same system, and its critics say it sometimes almost seems designed to fail many of them.
What are they talking about, Miss?
We can help kids become successful.
You think you're going to fail the test, and you probably will, Robert.
But there are so many of them today that we're just not reaching them all.
And as may have been the case with Johnny Jordan,
special needs, none.
Information about the kids who are reached often doesn't make it to the family.
I got some news on a few kids in aftercare.
In some cases, it doesn't even make it to those running the programs supposed to help them.
It's not infrequent for us to get incomplete information.
They would withhold something particularly damaging because they really wanted this kid placed somewhere.
There's pressure to get young people into placements, and many of these places are just underfunded and can't do what's necessary to do the job correctly.
People in the system complain, we're overwhelmed, we don't have enough caseworkers, we don't have enough money.
Hannah Craig, herself once a foster child, would cut back on programs in order to move kids out of the system altogether.
But in fact, if they would move 10% of the children who are in the system into permanent loving homes, some of those resources could be redirected. We emphasize families, not programs.
Her Institute for Children,
Project Description, advising policymakers,
is pushing states to put time limits on foster care and get more kids adopted.
1 in 10 foster children has been in the system for longer than 7 years.
Are you telling me that you think that there's some loving family out there that would have adopted Johnny Jordan?
He'd been in 19 homes. Was there a family when Johnny Jordan was 5 who was interested in adopting him? Did the system prevent that permanent bond from happening?
Whatever the best approach to reform is,
the panel recognizes that the defendant's childhood was one of abandonment and abuse.
Hannah Craig and Martin Mitchell agree on one thing: the need to get to kids early to avoid future Johnny Jordans.
It'll be a pay me now or pay me later type of situation. And then we're going to look back and say, we should have been doing something to prevent this.
Next,
I said, I don't believe this is happening.
Patti LaBelle with a bombshell charge against one of the giants in music.
This particular gentleman who was in his entourage who held me down so that Jack could have his way with me, to rape me, really.
When we return,
next on 2 News at 11, New York's favorite fan enjoys the royal treatment after helping Yankees win Game 1.
I helped my dad build this place. Well, help. I was so small I could barely swing the hammer. But he taught me a lot about tools. He used to say, you can buy cheap tools every couple of years. Or you can buy Stanley once.
Since 1843, a company from New Britain, Connecticut has been helping people do things right. Stanley.
I even take my tape roll fishing. Well, that way I'll know how big a story to tell.
Ooh, garlic. Healthy Choice introduces new Garlic Lovers pasta sauces, brimming with irresistible aroma, incredible flavor. Garlic Lovers pasta sauces, new from Healthy Choice. They're everything a garlic lover loves.
He sent me a toothbrush in the mail. It felt like 1,000 little fingers massaging my gums.
This is the Oral Care Brush from Mentadent.
It felt great.
It doesn't just clean teeth, it's designed to massage and stimulate your gums. The Oral Care Brush from Mentadent.
for more than 30 years, music legend Patti LaBelle has sung about love and loss and survival. But tonight, in an exclusive interview in primetime, she tells Harold Dow these themes were more than just music.
In my life, I've been dogged by so many entertainers, totally dogged.
Sorry to disturb you, but I had to get this off my chest.
That I would always turn the other cheek.
Tell me, what would you do if the shoe was on the other foot?
Patti LaBelle is not taking it anymore. She's naming names in her new autobiography.
Don't block the blessings. Revelations of a lifetime. Patti, why did you write this book?
It's a way of me finding closure in my life by telling all those things that hurt me in my younger years. I finally got to the point where I could talk about it. No more will I take from nobody because nobody's better than me.
LaBelle writes that over the years, others have tried to hold her back, afraid to compete with the sheer power of her voice.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Diana Ross.
Diana Ross discovered the hard way that you can't stop a force of nature.
Gotta take a little time.
She sang the lead for I Want to Know What Love Is. I was on stage and she looked around and said,
Help me somebody, I wanna know what love is.
she said, help me, Patti. And I said, no, I don't want to go out because I knew I loved the song and I knew I could really kill this song. I sang like God taught me to sing.
What you don't see on this edited TV special is a tussle that broke out on stage.
She took the mic back. And then I was looking for a mic because I had gotten into the song and I wanted to finish singing because I love the song. I said, God, it's like giving a kid a lollipop and taking it right back after the first lick. I said, give me back my lollipop.
Eventually, Patti got her mic back, and she was heard. The Apollo was also the site of something LaBelle kept quiet for 3 decades. Allegations about singer Jackie Wilson.
He's not here to defend himself. But it's true, and the people in his entourage would know that it's true. This particular gentleman who was in his entourage who helped me.
Held you?
Helped me who helped me down so that Jackie could have his way with me. To rape me, really. I screamed so loud, it scared them, and they stopped.
How'd you feel about him after that? I mean, you
like
idolized
he was
him.
scum, just because that's what he was. But did I forgive him? Yes.
You did forgive him?
Oh, yeah. So that I could go on.
And on she went, turning songs into anthems.
When I'm on stage, Priscilla comes out, honey, and she turns that song upside down.
Priscilla?
Priscilla, that's that other girl in me. I'm a Gemini, and I have a few personalities. And one of them is Priscilla. And she's the one who I can't control. She's just outrageous. I'm just gonna let it all hang out. I'm gonna sing so hard that I might bleed.
LaBelle steals the show wherever she goes.
Yeah. And they...
How about that voice? Is that a Patti?
That's a singing voice.
That's a singing voice?
That's a singing child.
Why haven't you left Philadelphia? I mean, you've been here all your life.
I like it. Philadelphia is my comfort zone.
Patti, when you look up there and you see 3 stories of Patti LaBelle, what thoughts go through your mind?
For the neighborhood or the community to want me on this side of a building, it just makes me know that I've made it. All I can say is, thank you, Philadelphia. Thank you.
Somebody loves you?
Somebody loves you, baby.
Somebody loves you, baby.
Is it easy or hard being married to Patti LaBelle?
Don't have anything to compare it to.
Armstead Edwards isn't just Patti's husband.
I'm still with my first wife.
He's also her manager.
27 years.
27 years.
Yeah.
I guess the most difficult part was learning to separate professional arguments from our personal arguments. And because I work for her...
You work for who?
You.
Oh, no, you don't. You work with me.
Yeah.
We work together.
And personal arguments, it's no holds.
Is Armstead the calming influence in your life? Because he seems like he's got it together from that standpoint.
He does. He's Sunday morning. I'm Saturday night. I told you. I'm rock and roll. He's the opera.
What's the ultimate goal that you would like to see Patti accomplish?
I only want one thing for her.
What's that?
I want peace.
Peace.
This is dedicated to my 3 sisters.
There's been little peace in Patti's adult life.
I never thought I would reach my 45th birthday. I just said that I'm next. I just thought I was going to go by 45.
What did you think would happen to you?
That I would die of cancer. Why not me?
I wish my sister was here to share this with me tonight.
All three of her sisters died of cancer.
I knew that I had to stay strong and be here for the ones who were left behind.
Patti adopted her sister Barbara's 2 children, but she's haunted by something left undone. This video, made the day after her sister Jackie's funeral, is a cruel reminder that Patti didn't do the last thing her sister asked her to.
I had been going to the hospital a lot. It was just draining me because I didn't want to see her go. Then one day she called me because she knew I was coming to the hospital, but I didn't want to come then. So she said, I'm really hungry and could you make me an egg sandwich? And I lied and told her why I couldn't, but I made up an excuse. And soon after that, she died, and that just killed me. Sometimes you just get tired, and you just say no to the wrong people, and I said no to the wrong person. That's all. And it's just a lesson in that.
And I let one of my sisters get away from me by not saying to her how much I loved her.
Whenever you can be kind to someone.
And the day that I was about to say it, she slipped away.
A friend or a family member or anybody, somebody on the street, just be that. Just be a nice person.
Oh, my future looks so bright to me.
Patti says this book helped her dust off her soul. And now, at age 52, she's finding peace.
I'm Dan Rather, and that's 48 Hours. Now, a preview of one of the stories we're working on for tomorrow night's CBS Evening News.
I'm Scott Pelley. There has been a second discovery regarding life on Mars. We will have the exclusive on that story, plus a look at the robot geologist being dispatched to the Red Planet to prospect for signs of life. All of that on tomorrow's Evening News.
That's tomorrow night. Now, look ahead to our next 48 hours.
78.36 is your total.
Nike says, just do it.
Your total is 97.87.
These workers just do it,
You all make Nike?
or else.
How many people did she hit?
48 Hours investigates the price they pay for the shoes on your feet. And
I always felt if you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly. Go for it.
He's made history.
One man's pornography is another man's art.
And headlines.
What did you say? Tell them to go screw themselves.
The Supreme Court. Now he's going Hollywood.
Hey, Mr. Flint, you are a handful.
Larry Flint, uncovered.
Are you a little embarrassed to talk about this?
Next week.
Hollywood's Gina Davis, Peter Gallagher, and a whole lot more on Thursday's Happiest Hour, The Late Show with David Letterman. But first, your local news.
Next on 2 News, the TWA Flight 800 investigation takes a new and delicate turn. Police in New Jersey hunt for a stalker who tried to lure an elementary school girl. O.J. Simpson gets a double dose of trouble from the judge in his civil trial. And Sigourney Weaver returns to Broadway in a steaming role. 2 News at 11 is next.
The truth about Clinton on taxes? Remember?
I will not raise taxes on the middle class.
But he gave the middle class the largest tax increase in history. Higher taxes on your salary, gasoline, Social Security. Clinton even tried higher taxes on heating your home. 255 proposed tax and fee increases in all. Clinton says,
but I don't think that qualifies me as a closet liberal.
Sorry, Mr. Clinton. Actions do speak louder than words. The real Bill Clinton, a real spend and tax liberal.
From WCBS TV in New York, this is 2 News.
He's been the toast of the town all day. The 12-year-old Little Leaguer who became the pride of the Yankees last night when he deflected a fly ball, making it a home run that helped the Yankees win Game 1 of the playoffs. Good evening. I'm Dana Tyler. Unfortunately, the Yankees didn't have their angel in the outfield for Game 2 today. However, Jeff Mayer was at the game that ended in a 5-3 defeat for the Yankees, and the best-of-7 series is now tied at 1-1. Channel 2's Kendra Farn has more on the fan they're calling the Yankee Kid.
Perhaps it was the fury of what happened last night. You know, that kid, that catch, that call. Maybe it was the fury that gave the Orioles the incentive to go out tonight and give the Yanks a good old-fashioned beating. Disappointed?
Yeah, but